At dinner, 5 unexpected words from a waitress daughter revealed an incredible heartwarming bond. It was a rainy evening at the Silver Spoon Diner, the kind of night that held the promise of warmth and camaraderie within its neon glow. The diner's bell chimed as Sarah filled the air with the rich aroma of coffee brewed with hope, every cup serving a slice of Americana. At 34, she prided herself on balancing motherhood and the hustle of waitressing, her unwavering spirit a testament to the love she held for her bright yet restless daughter. Lily, just 10, often felt like a shadow flitting around the bustling diner, a cloud of discontent hanging over her. The weight of school pressures had begun to show, as she wrestled with her homework while Sarah hustled between tables, serving plates piled high with pancakes and laughter from local veterans. One could feel the nostalgic songs crooning from the jukebox, the local chatter bubbling like the soda in their glasses. They were a family here, and yet, amidst the laughter, loneliness wrapped around Lily like a damp blanket. "Mom," Lily finally mustered, her voice slicing through the clinking of forks and the chatter of camaraderie. "I know you're doing your best." Those words hung in the air like a glimmer of light on a dark path. For Sarah, it was as if the weight of the world momentarily lifted off her shoulders. She smiled, though a familiar heartache drummed beneath, but their moment of connection was abruptly swallowed by the entrance of a well-dressed couple, their laughter harsh and condescending. With an air of superiority, they mocked the diner, the hard-working staff, and the very essence of the community that surrounded them. Sarah's chest tightened as they tossed around dismissive quips that sliced deeper than any knife. She felt the room shift, the warmth cooling, tension mounting. "Hey! That's enough." Sarah's voice rang clear, quivering yet resolute. The diner fell silent, eyes darting her way. A heart-pounding charge surged through her, one that challenged everything she believed about dignity and respect. As she stood up for her colleagues, her heart raced. The words spilled out, unyielding and true, giving life to the fire within her. As if spurred by her courage, other patrons began to rise, the camaraderie sparking a rebellion against the disdain. Voices chimed in, older men and women once shy now standing tall in solidarity. "We're proud of who we are," boomed a local vet, and the diners around nodded, building a wave of support that enveloped Sarah. Yet, in the midst of the gathering warmth, Lily felt as if she were fading further into the walls of the diner. The hurt mirrored back in her mother's eyes, disappointment, resolve, fear. With every word spoken in defense of their family of workers, the bond between mother and daughter trembled on the brink. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue, but as warmth filled the diner again, the lingering questions about their relationship still clouded the air, like the rain tapping softly against the window. Sarah looked at her daughter, torn between what she felt about courage and the embarrassment reflected back at her. They were standing on the edge of a new beginning, but would they take the leap together, or would societal pressures push them apart? The flickering neon sign outside illuminated the uncertainty of their futures, leaving everything just a bit more complicated than pie. The tension lingered long after the rude couple left, their laughter replaced by the comfortable clatter of dishes and light banter that made the diner a home away from home. But for Sarah, this evening felt different. The admiration and solidarity shown by the regulars had ignited something deep within her, yet she could feel the weight of Lily's silence pressing like a thick fog. "Lily?" she called out softly, her heart aching at the sight of her daughter retreating to a booth in the far corner, head bent low over unfinished homework. The little girl was a universe of emotions cloaked in a fabric of resilience crafted by circumstances but fraying at the edges. "Can we talk?" Sarah slid into the seat across from her, willingness etching every move. She saw the flicker of embarrassment in Lily's eyes, quickly masked by a wall of defiance. "About what?" Lily mumbled, not looking up. "About tonight. You saw how everyone rallied together for us. You've seen, Lily interrupted, her words tumbling out, sharp and raw. I thought we were supposed to keep our heads down, not make a scene. It's easier that way. The truth of it stung. But sometimes standing tall is what makes us stronger, Lily. It shows who we are. I need you to know that. I'm not like you, Lily replied, her voice barely audible, the defiance wavering. You're brave. I'm just me. As those words hit the table, silence hung between them, heavier than the rain outside. Sarah's heart cracked a little. She had been so focused on the external battles, the ones she fought for community dignity, she had failed to see the storm brewing inside her daughter. Lily, bravery isn't about shouting loud, it's about being true to yourself. Even when it's hard. Sarah said, her own voice softening, filled with a mother's love. For a moment, Lily met her gaze, searching for understanding in her mother's eyes. And just like that, layers began to peel away. I was embarrassed, she whispered. But I didn't want you to stop. The basement of emotions bubbled to the surface, the fear, the admiration, and the confusion. You can be you and still stand by my side. You don't have to hide, Sarah continued. Just as those folks stood by me tonight, I want to stand by you. Lily bit her lip, the tension easing a little as she processed her mother's words. For once, she felt the tide shifting in her favor, allowing herself to hope that maybe she didn't have to carry the weight alone. The diner felt warmer now, the atmosphere alive with laughter, and Sarah seized the moment. Let's make a deal. How about I help you with your homework, and in return, you teach me something you love? Lily's eyes brightened at the thought. Like what? Anything. Your favorite subject, a new game. I just want to connect, Sarah replied, smiling at her daughter's curiosity. Okay, Lily agreed, the corner of her mouth lifting slightly. The two began to map out their new pact amid the memories of laughter and concern still hanging in the air, but just as they began to share their ideas, the bell above the door jingled again. A hooded figure stepped inside, shaking off raindrops as a hush fell over the diner. The atmosphere shifted, curiosity turning to suspense as they all wondered who the newcomer might be. Could this stranger bring an unexpected twist to the evening, changing the course of their connected lives yet again? The stranger stepped in, water pooling around their feet as the door swung shut behind them. The telltale scent of rain mixed with the comforting aroma of coffee and frying bacon wrapped around the diner like a familiar embrace. Sarah's heart raced a little, but not out of fear. It was that spark of curiosity, the kind that made small-town life come alive. Who are they? Lily whispered, glancing furtively at her mom, her earlier bravado fading back into uncertainty. Sarah shrugged. She couldn't quite make out the figure's face beneath the hood, but there was something familiar about them, something that tugged at her memory. Maybe it's someone new, Sarah said, trying to keep the mood light. Or they could be visiting from out of town. The hooded figure took a step forward, revealing a face framed by unruly curls, a girl no older than Lily. She held the hood back slightly, revealing earnest green eyes that seemed to scan the room, finally landing on Sarah and Lily. Mom! She exclaimed, her voice bubbly despite the damp air. Shelley? Sarah blinked in surprise, recognition dawning. The island of familiarity was like a lifeboat amid the churning sea of emotions. Shelley was the daughter of one of the waitresses at the diner, and while they didn't know each other well, Sarah remembered her from the long summer days spent with her mother working those shifts. The girl's energetic spirit was infectious, and Sarah was swept back to those afternoons filled with laughter and camaraderie. Lily's eyes widened but held a flicker of recognition too. You're that girl who collects old comic books. Yes. And I heard you two were here, so I thought I'd swing by, Shelley chirped, moving closer to their booth, shaking the remaining droplets from her hair. The mood instantly lightened, Lily's initial apprehension fading. Did you really? Cool. She said, allowing a small smile to surface. It felt good to share something familiar and easy, especially in a moment when uncertainty loomed. Totally. I've been meaning to show you the new issues I got. They have this incredible story about bravery that I think you'd love, Shelley said, her enthusiasm infectious. As the two girls launched into a spirited discussion about superheroes and comic book arcs, Sarah felt an unexpected wave of relief wash over her. This was the connection she hoped to forge with Lily, not just about courage and standing tall, but about sharing joys. Just then, Shelley paused mid-sentence, her eyes shining with excitement. "Oh. And I heard some things at school about what happened tonight," she said, glancing around the diner. "Everyone's been talking about it. It's so brave of you, Miss Sarah." "It wasn't me being brave, it was the community," Sarah insisted, her cheeks warming with humility, but Shelley persisted, her eyes gleaming with admiration. "You stood up, that's what matters. You showed everyone we can be proud of who we are." Shelley's voice rang with a conviction that caught the attention of other diners, a ripple of murmurs and nods of agreement surrounding them. Lily, emboldened, looked between her mother and Shelley. Something sparked inside her, courage flickering like a candle. "Yeah. If we all stand together, we can be brave too," she dared to chime in, her spirit rising visibly. The atmosphere shifted, warmth spreading through their little corner of the diner as laughter bubbled anew. Hope illuminated the solemn shadows that had loomed moments before. In those few seconds, they forged an unbreakable bond, one that intertwined bravery, joy, and unconditional friendship. But before Sarah could comment on this newfound energy, another figure caught her eye in the doorway. A man she recognized from the local news, an activist known for stirring waves of change with his powerful speeches and undeniable charisma. Would he become an ally in their fight, or another complication in an already complicated journey? The air crackled with anticipation. The moment stretched like a rubber band, everyone's chatter turning into a soft murmur as the man entered. He stood tall, his presence commanding attention, a head taller than most. With tousled hair and a fire in his eyes, he surveyed the diner like a ship's captain looking for familiar shores. "Hey, folks!" he called out, a wide grin breaking across his face. The warmth in his voice cut through the tension that had momentarily settled over the place. "Looks like I've arrived just in time for an interesting evening." Sarah exchanged a glance with Lily, who looked just as intrigued as she felt. Then Shelley nudged Lily and whispered, "That's Mr. Harper. He's the one always giving those speeches at the town square." Sarah felt her heart skip. She remembered those speeches, passionate and raw, echoing with hope and a call for change. But looking at him now, she wondered what he would bring into their lives at this moment. Harper walked over to their booth, bringing a wave of energy with him. "Mind if I join?" he asked, his eyes dancing with mischief. The girls nodded, wide-eyed, and even Sarah found herself lifting her chin, surprise coloring her cheeks. As he squeezed into the booth next to Shelley, the air felt charged, and Sarah's mind raced with the possibilities. He leaned closer, his gaze focused intently on the girls. "I heard about the Bravery show," he said to Sarah, and the little space between them seemed to pulse with intention. "It takes a lot to stand up like you did. People are listening." "Thank you," she replied, the weight of his words stirring something deep within her. "But it's all of us. We're just trying to find our voice." "Exactly," Mr. Harper exclaimed, his eyes twinkling. "And it's the young ones like you, all of you, who will lead the charge." He gestured toward Shelley and Lily, making them giggle a little with surprise at being included. "What's your plan?" he asked, leaning back to look at the girls, clearly intrigued by their bond over comic books and courage. With a newfound boldness, Lily took a deep breath, and Sarah felt herself hold the very air around them. "We want to share stories," she began. "The ones that matter. We want to show that being brave is important." "Like superheroes?" Mr. Harper nodded vigorously, as if her words were stones of power. "That's exactly it. Everyone loves a good story, especially one that inspires. So, how do you think you might share yours?" Before they could respond, a waitress walked by, her arms loaded with plates as she slipped in effortlessly, a warm smile on her face. "Dinner's on the house tonight," she announced, clearly not just an observer in this moment of connection. Wow, really? Shelley exclaimed. The diner erupted with renewed excitement at the surprise, but Mr. Harper didn't lose focus on the girls. Looks like the universe is giving you a nudge, he said with a wink. Don't let it go to waste. Gather those stories. Share them. You're already braver than you think. A spark ignited in Sarah's chest, the kind of energy that only hope and possibility could stir. As she looked at Lily and the vibrant exchange with Shelley, she felt the foundation of something bigger taking shape, but just as they started to discuss how they could come together in this mission, a loud crash erupted from the kitchen, followed by frantic shouting. The diner fell silent, all eyes darting toward the kitchen door. What had just happened? And how would this sudden turn of events shadow their moment of connection? The tension in the diner felt like a thick fog, heavy and suffocating. All heads turned toward the kitchen door, where an anxious group of cooks and waitstaff gathered. Sarah squinted, trying to make sense of the commotion. The whispers from the other patrons dripped with curiosity, echoing against the metallic diner fixtures. Was that a plate? Lily whispered, clutching Sarah's arm tightly. I think so, Sarah replied, her heart racing. She could see the worried look on Mr. Harper's face. He shifted, trying to catch a glimpse of what was happening behind the swinging doors. As the chaos unfolded, a young woman, hardly older than the girls, burst out from the kitchen. She wore an apron splattered with flour and sauce, her hair tied messily in a bun. With wide eyes, she surveyed the room, clearly shaken but trying to maintain her composure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry everyone. The waitress cried out, her voice rising above the whispers. We're okay. Just a little too much excitement back there. Sarah felt a pang of sympathy for the girl. She looked overwhelmed. But was her voice shaking from the noise or something deeper? What happened? Shelley asked, her previous excitement quickly replaced by concern. The young waitress took a breath, glancing momentarily at Mr. Harper before continuing. One of the servers accidentally knocked over the dessert cart. It's okay. We're just cleaning up the mess and making sure no one is hurt. Mr. Harper gave her an encouraging nod, like a coach boosting the confidence of a young player. You've got this. Just breathe, he said softly, his calm demeanor working like a balm on the crowd's growing anxiety. The tension in the room began to melt, a light chuckle rippling through the aisles as patrons visualized plates of pie and cake tumbling to the ground, their snapshots of laughter ringing clear. The young waitress caught the laughter, and her face softened, transforming her worry into a smile. I promise you all more pie. On the house. She winked, and a wave of applause broke out. It was the kind of moment that encapsulated the heart of small-town life, a shared incident that reminded them they were all in this together. See? Stories are everywhere, just waiting for a good moment, Mr. Harper said to Sarah and her friends, his eyes glimmering. The diner had returned to its rhythm, the chatter rising again, more alive than before. In that moment, Sarah realized how fleeting life could be. Simple accidents could turn into laughter and connection, fueling the essence of community with a spark of joy. What if Sarah started, her voice trembling with the weight of excitement and ideas swirling in her mind, what if we collect stories like this? Moments of joy, courage, mishaps, and everything in between. The fire in her gaze mirrored the one she saw in Mr. Harper's. Yes. A storytelling project. Shelley exclaimed, jumping on the idea. Or a video series. We could interview people and share their moments. Lily added, her own excitement bubbling over. Mr. Harper leaned in, his face alive with possibility. That's it. You're onto something special here. Capture the heartbeat of this town, the ups and downs. It will inspire others to find their voices. Just like you. As their imaginations soared, the conversation became a flurry of laughter and dreams. But just when the girls began to feel the pull of potential, the young waitress, her smile now bright and warm, re-entered the diner, holding something unexpected. In her hands was a plate of dessert, but it wasn't just any dessert. It was a single slice of cake, shimmering with light as if infused with hope. "One for you, Mr. Harper," she announced, her voice sweet and resolute. Eyes widened, Sarah leaned in closer, the air thick with anxiety and anticipation. What does this mean? She wondered, her heart aching with questions. "Please tell us what happened back there," Sarah whispered, captivated by the moment, as the waitress turned to them, nervous yet empowered. Now everyone in the diner was listening, leaning forward like children on the edge of a story. What would this young waitress share that might link them all in this unexpected tapestry of life? The young waitress took a moment, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted the plate in her grasp. She glanced around the diner, eyes flickering from Mr. Harper to the eager faces of Sarah and her friends. "You all have been so kind," she began, her voice wavering just a bit. "I feel like you deserve to know why this moment means so much to me." The air was thick with curiosity, and Sarah could almost hear a collective breath being held. A few of the older patrons leaned in closer, intent on not missing a word. "Last year," the waitress continued, her gaze lowering to the slice of cake, "my mom worked here. Every Saturday, she'd make this exact cake. It was her specialty. The way it glistened just like this one," she said, pointing to the slice, "it brought smiles to everyone around." A nostalgic warmth filled her voice, but a hint of sadness lingered in her eyes. "Then things changed. Life got tough. My mom got sick, and we lost her," she said, swallowing hard. The room fell completely silent, the chatter stilled as the weight of her words hung heavily in the air. It wasn't just the story of a slice of cake, it was a piece of her heart. "On her last day, I remember her telling me that good food makes good memories," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "When I saw the dessert cart fall, I panicked. I thought of all those times spent watching her bake with laughter filling the kitchen. It felt like I was losing that memory all over again." Tears glistened in the corners of her eyes, and Sarah felt a wave of compassion wash over her. Here was not just a waitress but a guardian of joyful memories, putting her heart on the line before all these strangers. For a moment, the chaos of the diner faded. "But then you all laughed," the waitress continued, a smile breaking through the tears. "You reminded me of how food is about connection. I felt her presence in that laughter, in this moment." She lifted her gaze, affirming her newfound courage. "That's why I wanted to share this cake with Mr. Harper. He's the reason I came to work here. He was my mom's best friend. This diner has held my family's stories, and I want to help keep them alive." Sarah's heart swelled with emotion, the impact of the young woman's story running through the room like a current. It was raw and real, echoing the themes they had just been discussing: loss, joy, and the beautiful connection between strangers. In that shared silence, no one was just a customer or a server, they were a community held together by stories yet to be told. "Your mom sounds amazing," Sarah finally said, her voice filled with understanding. "Thank you," the waitress replied, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "I just hope to carry that spirit forward." Mr. Harper, always the champion of stories, stepped forward. "You've got something special in you. Let us capture this goodness and share it with the world," he said, his encouragement as steady as an anchor in a storm. The excitement from the girls surged again, this time even stronger, fueled by the emotional connection they all felt. It shifted from ideas to a realization that this project could be more than just stories, it could be a way to honor lives, to spark healing, and bring joy. "I want to help," Shelley said, her eyes firm with determination. "We should record these moments. Let us start with you." The waitress's face lit up, her spirit rekindled like a flickering flame. "Really? You do that for me?" "Of course." Lily chimed in. "Everyone deserves to have their story told." As the energy in the diner shifted, Sarah felt the pulse of something bigger, something electric. They were not just creating a project, they were weaving a tapestry of resilience and hope, but before they could dive deeper, the young waitress hesitated, as if another thought gripped her. But there's more. I found something while cleaning today, something belonging to my mom. I think it might help us all understand her connection to this place." Her voice trailed off, eyes wide with intrigue. Everyone leaned in closer, the anticipation palpable. What could it be? Another story. Waiting to be unfolded, a bridge to the past that could light their path forward. What secrets would that piece of her mother reveal? The waitress took a deep breath, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and nerves. "It's a recipe card," she said, glancing down at her hands before continuing. "It was tucked away in the back of a drawer. I almost didn't find it. But when I did, it felt like I was holding a piece of her." She carefully reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a worn piece of paper, aged and stained from years of use. The corners were frayed, and the handwriting was unmistakably her mother's, neat and steady, filled with little notes and doodles. Every Saturday she'd make her famous chocolate cake, but this was something different. The young woman unfolded the card, revealing smudged ink and flour dust as if it had been touched by generations. "This is a recipe for a family-style meal we used to eat together. It was our Sunday tradition, a gathering of stories, laughter, and love." Mr. Harper stepped closer, his eyes glistening with years of fond memories. "Ah, the Sunday meals. Your mother never failed to make them special," he said, his voice thick with nostalgia. "I remember those days. She would make more than enough, but carried everyone's heart in every dish." With each word Mr. Harper spoke, Sarah could see the other patrons nodding in agreement. They were captivated not only by the young waitress's story but also by the vivid images it conjured up, a tapestry of family, warmth, and a connection lost but now found again. "Can you share what it says?" Lily asked, her curiosity piqued. The waitress hesitated. "It's just a simple recipe, but those are the best kinds," Shelley replied, her encouragement brightening the room. "It might mean a lot to all of us." With a slow nod, the waitress cleared her throat and began to read. 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 3 eggs and love." Her eyes sparkled with tears as she continued, "It doesn't just say love at the end, it's like a reminder that no matter what, every meal should be filled with that connection." It was her way of saying that food isn't just about feeding the body. It's about nourishing the soul. A soft gasp echoed from the back of the diner. "That's beautiful!" an elderly woman exclaimed, her hands clasped together, revealing her own sentiments stirred by the memory. The waitress looked around, meeting the eyes of the people who had shared in her story. A sense of unity blossomed in the dimly lit diner, as if they had collectively stepped into that Sunday kitchen, feeling the warmth of family love wrap around them. "Do you think we could recreate that meal?" Sarah asked, her excitement spilling over. "We could make it a special event, bring the community together. Honor your mom's spirit." "Absolutely!" the waitress exclaimed, her initial nervousness replaced by excitement. It was always about bringing people together the way she did it, that's what made it special. Like all those stories we share. As they all discussed the details, ideas buzzing in the air, a sense of purpose ignited. They weren't just creating a project, they were planning an event that would connect families, with memories served on each plate. Just as the waitress was about to mention a favorite ingredient her mom always included, the door to the diner swung open. A harsh wind flowed in, and with it, a stranger stepped in, shaking off snow from their coat, and all eyes fell on them. "What did I just walk into?" the stranger asked, a hint of curiosity and challenge in their voice, halting the laughter and chatter mid-sentence. Everyone turned to the newcomer, and in an instant, the warmth of the moment flickered slightly. Who was this person, and what did that look on their face mean? What story were they about to add to this gathering? The stranger took a careful step inside, their presence casting a shadow over the cozy atmosphere. Clad in a heavy coat, they shook off snowflakes that danced like tiny stars in the light of the diner. The moment hung in the air, thick with unanswered questions and the scent of fresh coffee and baked goods. Excuse me," the stranger continued, their brow furrowing slightly as they surveyed the room. "You seem lively. What's all this about?" Sarah exchanged glances with the waitress, whose eyes reflected a mixture of confusion and intrigue. This was their moment, one that felt sacred, but now the stranger's intrusion shifted its energy. Mr. Harper cleared his throat, finding his voice first. "We were just sharing memories of a beloved woman, a mother, a cook, an artist of the kitchen," he said, with palpable warmth. "Her daughter found an old recipe card, and it sparked a beautiful idea." The stranger looked deeply into Mr. Harper's eyes, then shifted their gaze to the waitress. "You're her daughter?" they asked, their voice softening. There was something in their tone, a hint of empathy, recognizing a shared wound. The waitress nodded, her hands trembling slightly. I didn't think I would ever find a piece of her again," she admitted, her voice breaking a little. As she spoke, the room seemed to lean closer, willing her to continue. "What was it about your mother that made her so special?" the stranger asked, their interest deepening. It was no longer just curious, it was almost personal. A hint of urgency colored their words, as if they were drawing upon some unspoken connection. With each question, the waitress felt a shift of budding trust enveloping the conversation. "She had a way of making everyone feel loved," she said, her courage growing. "No one ever left our home hungry or sad. She taught us that food isn't just about eating, it's about sharing lives and stories." The atmosphere rippled with collective nods and brief murmurs punctuated with smiles. The stranger let that sink in for a moment before their expression turned serious. "Family recipes have a way of weaving threads through generations," they said, almost to themselves. "They connect us to those we've lost, don't they?" At that moment, laughter felt distant. Everyone in the diner seemed to inhale deeply, recognizing the unspoken truths in the stranger's words. The weight of shared experiences pulsed within the walls, each heartbeat echoing with the stories left unsaid. "Did you know her, too?" Sarah asked, leaning in slightly. "Was she part of your life?" The stranger hesitated, their breath hitching in their throat. "In a way, yes. I grew up listening to stories of her love for cooking, but I never had the chance." They trailed off, the corners of their mouth twisting into a bittersweet smile, as if that one unfulfilled wish lingered heavier than snow on winter's edge. Just as the moment deepened, as if weaving a strong tapestry of community, a ringing phone shattered the delicate silence. The waitress fished her phone out of her apron pocket, her heart racing. Unknown number. Panic flashed across her face. She silenced the call, but the weight in the air felt charged now, a tether connecting all stories held in the diner. The stranger took a step closer, their brow furrowed in concern. "Is everything okay?" The waitress swallowed hard, fighting against the onslaught of emotions. "I don't know. I'm about to find out." The diner's warmth faded into uncertainty as everyone held their breath, wondering what awaited her on the other end of that call. Who could it be? What news lay hidden? "Maybe it's time to share her recipe with the world," the stranger whispered, pushing gently against the expectation thick in the air, igniting curiosity anew. As the waitress stared at the phone in her shaking hand, she could feel the weight of hope and fear tangled together. What closure awaited her next? The waitress took a steadying breath, her fingers tightening around the phone. Everyone in the diner felt her unease, their gazes glued to her. It was as if the very air in the room had thickened, holding back their worries and hopes. "Maybe you should answer it," Mr. Harper suggested, his voice steadier than the nerves written across the waitress's face. "It could be important." She nodded, the action slow and deliberate, before she turned the phone back on. The screen lit up with another call that echoed through her mind like an unwelcome reminder. Her mother's laughter often filled their kitchen. Now, the silence felt louder than any memory. The waitress slowly raised the phone to her ear. "Hello." She tried to sound composed, but her voice quivered. An unfamiliar voice crackled through the speaker. "Is this Emily?" "Ah yes, this is Emily," she stammered. "Emily, I'm Phyllis from Harmony Retirement Home. I'm sorry to call you like this, but there is something important regarding your mother." The voice went on, but Emily's mind had started racing. Harmony Retirement Home? Her mother was a resident there. Emily squeezed her eyes shut against the tidal wave of disbelief. She had thought her mother's last days had been filled with solitude. "Can I come see her?" she interrupted, fear and urgency forcing the words from her lips. "Of course, but there's something you should know," Phyllis said, a slight tremor in her voice. Emily felt the warmth of the diner fade, creating a vacuum of dread around her. Behind her, the stranger shifted closer, their deep-set gaze absorbing every ounce of her tension. He reached forward, as if to ground her. "I'm on my way," she whispered, dropping the phone back in her apron pocket. Her heart raced a kaleidoscope of fear and excitement twisting and turning. "What happened?" The stranger pushed gently, keeping his voice steady. "She's at the retirement home. I thought I lost her," Emily gasped, overwhelmed in the moment. "Now I have to go." The words tumbled out, feeling both exhilarating and terrifying. Suddenly, the thought of her mother stirred restless emotion within her. Memories surged, flavors of her mother's cooking, warmth of family gatherings. All those missed moments now felt unbearably close, yet a world away. "But maybe this is your chance," the stranger offered, their eyes reflecting a shared understanding of longing. "A chance to reconnect." Emily swallowed hard as if the words had tasted both bitter and sweet. What did she stand to gain? Or lose? She felt the weight of decision, momentous and fragile, hanging like the last leaf on an autumn tree. Behind her, Sarah and Mr. Harper watched quietly, giving her space, their expressions a blend of hope and encouragement. I need to go," she stammered, glancing at her companions as she stepped away from the table. "Thank you for sharing your memories. I need to find my own." As she turned to leave, a collective hush fell over the diner. The warmth that had once cradled her now felt daunting. It was a chasm between her past and the future she was stepping towards. "Wait," the stranger's voice broke into her thoughts. "Just one more thing. If you find her, promise me you'll not just share her recipes, but her stories too. They're what make her alive." Emily paused. A thread of connection wrapped around her heart. This stranger had sparked a flicker of hope. "I promise," she whispered, and with that, she stepped into the cold outdoor air, her mind racing with what she might discover. As snow flurries swirled around her, she felt an undeniable resolve. Each step felt like an awakening, a journey back to a mother she thought she had lost forever. But what awaited her behind the doors of Harmony Retirement Home? Would the stories she uncovered bring her peace, or would they open doors she wasn't ready to walk through? The night air was crisp and electric as Emily hurried down the street, each step fueled by equal parts urgency and desire. The diner faded behind her, but with it lingered the warmth of connection, a tapestry of stories unfurling in her heart. She had felt the community rally around her, and it gave her strength. With the lights of Harmony Retirement Home appearing in the distance, apprehension swirled in her chest. What awaited her inside those walls? As she approached, she spotted the cozy atmosphere, the delicate hum of voices, a soft chatter of nostalgia and lost times. She stepped through the door, and the smell of lavender and vanilla wafted over her, wrapping her in a blanket of familiarity. The receptionist greeted her with a warm smile, and with a quick glance at Emily's trembling hands, her expression softened. "Are you here for someone special?" she asked. Yes. My mother, Agnes Porter," Emily stuttered, her heart racing as she recalled memories of laughter and love shared in their tiny kitchen. The receptionist nodded, noting the connection, and ushered Emily down a sunlit hallway lined with framed photographs of residents, each face telling a story of life celebrated. As Emily approached her mother's room, her mind echoed with every recipe, moment, and memory. She knocked softly at the door, anxiety knotting in her stomach. "Mom. Come in." A voice called from within, warm and inviting, like the day she had made her favorite chocolate cake. The door creaked open, revealing a room filled with vibrant geraniums and family pictures, each framed moment a whisper of bygone days. There sat Agnes, aged and beautiful, a familiar glimmer in her eye as she looked up. "Emily." She beamed, her smile carving out a space of warmth in an otherwise daunting reality. "You found me." Emily stepped into the room, her heart pounding with love and relief as she enveloped her mother in a tight embrace. "I thought I lost you." Tears glistened in her eyes, but they sparkled with joy. "I'm still here, dear. Just a little farther away." Agnes chuckled, her voice steady but gentle, welcoming her into a world where memories flooded back, and love defined time. As they settled into old stories shared over the years, Emily felt both the weight of the past and the promise of the future. "Mom," she began, her heart racing with emotion. "I found your recipe card, the one with your chocolate cake. I want to recreate those family meals, those moments with everyone together." Agnes's eyes brightened with a glimmer of recognition as she recalled their kitchen filled with laughter and love. "Oh, sweetheart. Those meals were magic," she said, clasping Emily's hands. "Every spoonful shared carries love. It's what keeps us alive in each other's stories." But what if Emily hesitated, her soul aching to understand? "What if I want to share your stories with everyone? Honor you in a way that means something?" "Then you must. Stories bind us all together," Agnes said, her voice fierce yet tender. "They remind us of where we came from. And that extends far beyond these walls." A wave of determination washed over Emily, igniting her spirit. Suddenly, the memories of the diner all colliding in her mind, the laughter, the shared moments, the young waitress who inspired courage made perfect sense. She knew what her mission was. "I want to collect stories, just like you did," Emily announced, conviction surging through her voice. "I want to bring people together to share their memories around meals the way you did." Agnes smiled, her heart both proud and hopeful. "Then let us do it, my love. But remember, they won't just be recipes, they'll be the essence of who you are, who we are." In that electric moment, Emily realized she wasn't just reconnecting with her mother, she was breathing life back into their shared history, unraveling a beautiful legacy strengthened by truth, warmth, and love. As the day melted into evening, Emily took her mother's hand, their hearts beating as one. "Let us return to the diner together. I want them to know you're still here, and I want to share your story." Agnes nodded, her heart swelling with love and pride as they walked back down the winding hall. The sweetness of all their culinary escapades hung in the air like a hymn, growing louder and brighter. When they returned to the Silver Spoon Diner, the familiar chatter greeted them like an old friend. As customers looked up to witness the reunion, warmth enveloped the space. "Emily!" Shelley shouted, her enthusiasm contagious. "You're back. Is everything okay?" With her mother at her side, Emily felt complete. Even better. With a grin, she addressed the diner that had become their community. "I want to share my mother's story. I want us to create a feast, a gathering for everyone to share and relive our stories together." The diner erupted with excitement, patrons cheering in support. Mr. Harper stood tall in the corner, a knowing smile beaming on his face. "See? The threads of life weaving together, just as they should." As the night continued, laughter flowed, and conversations blossomed. Emily felt a wave of belonging wash over her, beyond anything she had ever known. Standing beside her mother, they embraced the power of their stories, relationships rekindled, loved ones honored, and futures brightened. In that moment, Emily understood the true essence of life in a small diner, a place where everyone, even the shyest souls, found the courage to stand tall and share their stories. Sometimes, a single night holds the power to change everything. So, for all those listening, for those who felt the urge to share, join us. Stand up, share your story, and let your voices resonate, and don't forget to stand with us. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and let us know we're all in this together. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming conclusion. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because you need to share the love. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support keeps our stories alive.